John Franklin Bardin was an American writer of crime fiction. He was born in 1916 in Cincinnati, the son of a coal merchant. He studied at the Walnut Hills High School and then would study engineering at the University of Cincinnati. Having to leave university following his father's death, he worked as a bookstore clerk as well as at a bank, in an advertising company, and as a worker in a valve factory. In 1943, he married Rhea Schuyler Yalovich. In 1944, he began working for the Edwin Bird Wilson Inc. ad agency. During his time in the company, he taught creative writing at the New School for Social Research. He became the vice president and director of the company by 1963, in which year he resigned. He held various other posts subsequently, such as publicity director for the United Negro College Fund, as well as editor on the Coronet magazine and managing director of the Today's Health magazine. In 1966, he married his second wife, Phillida Corman. He died in 1981 at Beth Israel Medical Center in New York. The Deadly Percheron is Bardin's first novel, initially published in 1946. Karl Edward Wagner placed it on his list of best horror novels under the heading of the 13 best non-supernatural horror novels. The story begins with a man named Jacob Blunt visiting his psychiatrist, Dr. George Matthews. Apparently, Jacob hopes Dr. Matthews will pronounce him insane, because otherwise the leprechauns who give him money to give out quarters, wear flowers in his hair, or whistle at Carnegie Hall would be real, and who would want to believe that? Initially, the doctor is supremely skeptical, but then when he goes with Jacob to the bar, he ends up meeting with Eustace, the so-called leprechaun. Eustace is a little person who objects to being called a midget because he claims he is an honest American leprechaun. Because, as he reasons, like everything else in America, leprechauns there are also bigger and better than everywhere else. The doctor is so frazzled by all this nonsense that he wants to leave. That is, before he hears Eustace telling Jacob that Jacob is now to go and hand out horses instead of quarters. Dr. Matthews tries to dissuade Jacob from committing such nonsense, but is unsuccessful. The following morning, the doctor is called up with the information that Jacob had been arrested after being found ringing the doorbell of a famous actress, horse in hand, at the same time said actress had been murdered. Matthews visits his old friend, the police superintendent Anderson, and together they decide to release Jacob into the doctor's custody in order to try and get to the bottom of this horse business. But the man they release into Matthews's custody is not Jacob. Just as the doctor is about to try and make sense of all this, he is pushed in front of a train. Waking up in a mental ward some 10 months later, the staff refuse to accept his claims of being a psychiatrist and insist he is a homeless bum named John Brown. Matthews must find a way to be released and hopefully also find out what happened in the past 10 months, what had become of his wife, and what the real deal was with the leprechaun who gives away percherons. A bizarre, exciting crime novel. The only bit which I would wish to criticize is the fact that the novel doesn't have any real leprechauns.